Welcome to Northern Italy for the final weekend of the GB3 Championship in 2025, and we have come to do it in style here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, a racetrack that bleeds history and every single racing driver or racing fan would love to drive around. We've been all over the country in the UK. We've also been over for our European road trip this season in GB3. This is the very first time we'll be making our debut at Monza, and having seen the cars go around the track so far this weekend in practice and in qualifying, it's going to be a weekend of fast speeds and big overtakes. I'm Jon Jackson, joined of course by Piers prior, and the party, as you can probably hear, has already got started. If you didn't need any more visual reminders of where we are, there's a rather large sign here which reminds you, so you're never going to forget you're here at one of the most iconic racetracks in the world, and we are expecting to end the season with 3 epic races, aren't we, Piers?
Looking forward to it. It's the temple of speed for a reason. Huge long straights, big braking zones offering overtaking opportunities for the drivers, and it's another opportunity for these young drivers to get a taste of a Formula One circuit, a circuit that's been on the Formula One calendar for forever, basically. They'll get to learn it in these cars, and that'll do well for their careers in future.
Look, we've got brand new drivers on the grid, we've got returning drivers, and of course we've got drivers that have competed the whole season, and also we have a brand new GB3 champion that needs to be crowned. So let's just remind ourselves of what happened last time out at Donington Park as Alex Ninovic clinched the championship.
GB3's penultimate round takes us to the Donington Park circuit, where Alex Ninovic is poised to clinch the title. He'd come into the round with a 71-point lead over Patrick Heuzenroeder, and he needs 102 points before the end of the weekend to secure the championship before we head to Monza for the season finale. He was once again starting from pole position and ready to go, but could he lead into that first corner? All the drama would happen behind, as he was able to comfortably clear off from Noah Lyle. Of course, there was plenty of fights and a few crashes in the background, but Alex Ninovic was holding firm at the front end of the field. Patrick Heuzenroeder, after poor qualifying, was able to bring himself back up in a 4th position, but the championship lead would be extended to 85 points. It was Ninovic, Seaworthen and Noah Lyle on the podium in the first race of the day. Then, of course, it was all preparation for Sunday, where once again Ninovic would be starting from pole position and his championship rival Patrick Heuzenroeder down from just 8th position. It was a chaotic race. Enzo Tampa-Nitschkel off into the gravel trap, a fair few drivers struggling. Patrick Heuzenroeder rising up through the order, but again, another fantastic victory for Alex Ninovic, and the championship lead was now 99 points. Just 3 more points he needed to score over his championship rivals, and the title would be his. Seaworthen and Fairclough would join him on the podium. But of course, the third and final race of the weekend was the reverse grid race. It was Felicia from pole position. It was McNeely alongside in that front row, looking for their first victories, looking for their first podiums in the championship. There was some chaotic moments, including a retirement for the likes of Patrick Heuzenroeder. Of course, that big crash, Rabbi pulling, a couple of drivers fighting their way up the field. But it was Felicia victorious at the end of the race, ahead of Harrison and McNeely, an all-new podium in GB3. But of course, with another excellent drive to 7th place, it was Alex Ninovic who would become our 2025 GB3 champion.
So a great weekend for many different reasons. Great for Lucas Felicia, the 12th winner of the grid this year. And of course for Alex Ninovic and Rodin Motorsport, he clinches the Drivers' Championship at the earliest possible moment that any driver has ever done it before, with this whole round to go here at Monza. I mean, it really was an epic weekend for him, but it's been an epic season for Alex.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, we've never had a champion in this era of the championship take victory or go into the final event of the season as victor. Very rarely do we even have it where there's a whole race. So Ninovic, his speed has been unquestionable and his racecraft has been there to match as well. A worthy champion, and he's going to try and just take more victories this weekend.
Yeah, he's not letting up at all. I caught up with him less than 2 weeks after he was crowned champion. We've seen social media posts everywhere. We've seen messages of congratulations from all around the world of motorsport, and I had a chat with him to see how he was feeling as the newly, not quite yet crowned GB3 champion. So Alex, we're here, the final round of the season. We've talked on and off throughout this season, but you kind of come into this weekend, we alluded to this at Donington, where you have already won the championship. So you get the pleasure of driving around one of these iconic tracks in the world of motorsport with not much to worry about.
Yeah.
And you seem very chilled.
Yeah, definitely. This weekend's, obviously this championship sealed, so all the pressure's off, and I guess I can enjoy racing and learning this track and all the bits about it, even the sunshine.
I mean, the sunshine's lovely in October.
Yeah.
Given that, you don't actually have to get anything more out of this season, there is still a lot, and you've alluded to that there, that you'll be hoping to drive at this track many times in the future, so it's very important that you actually get to learned the ins and the outs of this track. You know, you kind of mastered a lot of tracks so far. This is one we haven't been to yet. When it comes to this track, what's your biggest consideration? Because it's it's a fast track. That's going to be. Is it going to be you're not getting cramp in your right calf?
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to this weekend, and I'm coming into the weekend with the same thought, mind. So yeah, learn as much as we can, and ideally perform as good as we can. And yeah, definitely moving forward it would give us a good opportunity to learn the track and all the ins and outs. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well.
We've just been on the podium here. It's quite an iconic podium at Monza because it's overlooking the track, and you've seen all those famous photos of Ferrari drivers on there in the past. You want to be on there. I mean, you're going to be on there to get your championship trophy, but you want to be on there even though you don't need to. You're going to win more races because you've got an impressive win record so far this season, right?
Yeah, it would be nice. Obviously, this season's been amazing with the poles and wins, but yeah, this weekend, same sort of process. Perform as good as we can, and I think with the pace we've shown in practice, we should be somewhere at the front. Hopefully, we get the good results.
When it comes to being the champion, I mean, I've seen pictures of you. GB3 shared a picture of you signing some stuff earlier on. Some of the fans here. Obviously, there's a lot of fanfare when you win a championship. What's been the most surreal moment, or maybe the most surreal message you've got? Have you had any messages from within the motorsports world? I know a lot of the sort of drivers that have been on this pathway love to show some love to the people on the way up.
Yeah, definitely. It's been quite nice winning the championship with one round to go, and getting a lot of people coming on board, and obviously being quite happy about me winning the championship. It's been great. Actually, this morning I spoke to Mark Webber's dad, Jack Cavill, FaceTimed him, and I had a little chat with him, which was cool. He said congratulations and might need to catch up one day, so that's quite nice. And yeah, there's been a lot of people, family, friends, and new people that are obviously quite excited.
Well, David Dicker's obviously here as well, Mr. Rodin, and we've spoken to him on the TV broadcast before, and we know how much he loves supporting young drivers on their paths. What kind of things has he said? Because, I mean, he must be super impressed and proud of you. Yeah,
David's definitely very excited and proud of the performances this year. He obviously tunes in all the time and makes sure everything's going as smoothly as possible. And yeah, he's been super happy with this year's results and the domination. So that's really good. And yeah, we talk about all types of stuff, motorsport, engines, just anything cars really. And yeah, it's great catching up with him here at Monza.
Added pressure with him being here?
Not really.
No?
No.
Has you impressed him so far?
Yeah.
Look, obviously next year is something that you're not going to tell me about. I know there's announcements on the way, but when it comes to next year, how does the end of the season look for you? We have Monza here. That's the end of the GB3 Championship weekend. Do you go into testing, or are you going to get to go home? What's the plan?
Yeah, after this round, we go back to England, and I'll be at the factory doing a lot of sim stuff, development and sim work for future tracks and cars. So yeah, that should be interesting. And then we should have a little bit of a break, be able to go home in the sort of December, January sort of time, which will be nice. And then yeah, come back and start it all again.
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's first time driving Monza this weekend ever?
We did on the sim. I've done a bit, and we did do a 2-day testy last year.
Nice.
In the cold winter sort of weather, so it was interesting.
Well, let's hope the sun sticks around. It's going to be fascinating to see how you get on. I have a feeling you might be on the podium. I mean, we're going to end this little walk and talk next to your car here. You're going to be feeling a little bit sad to leave it behind us this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite nice the way the year's gone. So yeah, it's definitely a car that I quite like, and yeah, I'm super happy I'll be able to drive it once more at Snetterton in a few weeks, which will be nice, and then from there I'll probably have to say goodbye.
Will they give you like a bit of the car to maybe keep as a memento, like maybe a damaged front wing or something like that?
I don't know, I'll have to ask.
No, you should get that.
Yeah.
Well, look, best of luck this weekend. We look forward to watching you race as the champion this weekend at Monza, and we look forward to watching what you do next year.
Yeah.
Well, that is our 2025 GB3 champion, Alex Ninovic. An incredible season for him. More pole positions from him as well, breaking records everywhere he goes. And of course, we've got a guy behind us here, Juan Manuel Fangio, who certainly knows what it's like to be a champion. 5-time Formula One world champion with this beautiful, I think it's bronze statue that was erected in 2004 as a tribute to him. And he's not Alex has run away with the championship, but he's had people fighting him the whole way. His teammate Jean-Marco Pradel, but also Patrick Heuzenroeder, as the Australians have really dominated this season of GB3. We saw them having a team photo taken yesterday with Noah Lyle as well. I mean, what's in the Australian water, Piers?
I don't know, but currently 1, 2, 3 in the championship for our Aussies, and it's been a strong one for them. They clearly see that coming over here to the UK and racing in the GB3 Championship is a real boost for their career, and hopefully we'll see some of these Aussies maybe emulating the man behind us in years to come.
Well, look, here's one of the drivers that we've seen over the last 3 seasons in part, 2 full seasons and a couple of races here and there. This is Excel's Patrick Heuzenroeder. Pat, final race of the season. This is the 3rd season you've had involvement in the GB3 Championship. You did a couple of rounds a couple of years ago, 2 full seasons now, 2nd in the Championship and 33 points ahead of 3rd place. You're very close to clinching 2nd, but as a racing driver, is 2nd, as good as last if you're not 1st?
Yeah, well, it's as good as it's going to get this weekend, unfortunately. So, I've just got to do the best job I can do. It's looking good in free practice, but we'll see. I've just got to, do my best and do the best as we can as a team and just get as many points as possible.
It's a new track for the GB3 Championship. I know a lot of people have been very excited to come here to Monza since it was announced last year. How has it been actually out there compared to what you were expecting from your sim work?
It's a lot better than a sim, let's say that. You can really feel the history around the circuit. Lots of braking zones. You got a bit of high-speed stuff in the middle sector there. So overall, it's a really fun circuit. I think the racing should be good, and I can't wait to get going tomorrow morning. Really.
Resurfaced as well. That was a big thing that F1 were talking about. But it looks great out there. When it comes to things you got to worry about while you're out there driving, what's the biggest consideration?
Hitting the brake pedal or staying full throttle. But no, like you said, resurfaced, so very little bumps out there. The curbs are all exactly the same in each corner, so no real inconsistencies corner to corner. But I think quality, a toe will be very important, and then in the race, just focusing on getting a run on someone if you're behind.
What's the plan after this weekend then? If you manage to wrap up 2nd in the Championship, which you are, it's in your hands to do so. What's the plan after this weekend? Back to England, back to Australia? What's going on?
I'll head back to England, just hang out there. While you're in Europe / the UK, there's a lot more options to do things. Unfortunately, we don't have anything lined up at the moment, but like I said, being in this side of the world is a lot more. Things are a lot more available to you than in Australia.
When it comes to next year, is there something in mind that you'd like to do? You can hint to it, you can tell me straight, or you can completely play this question off like I imagine you might.
I'd just like to be racing a car.
Single-seater?
Something with 4 wheels and a steering wheel.
You're not bothered, are you? You'd race anything?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, racing in your blood from when you're young, so as long as you're in a car and going fast in circles, then it's good fun.
As an Australian, we've just seen Bathurst was on, and that looked epic. Is that something that you'd like to be involved in at some point in your career?
Yeah, definitely in the future. I mean, that track is spectacular. Completely different to this, I guess. Going up, down hills, left and right. I've driven it once in a road car, but yeah, it's very special, and I'd like to drive it one day.
Well, look, it could be the last weekend that you're in the GB3 Championship. It's been great having you if it is the last weekend. If not, we'll see you next year. But what will you miss the most about this championship and about this car?
Well, I've had 2 different cars to deal with. Definitely this year enjoyed so much figuring out this new car, having to change my driving style quite often, when we get in at a different circuit that we haven't been at before, as well as, developing with this team and trying to develop a car and a team around, not around me, but you know what I mean. So that's what I've really enjoyed this year. We've had a great grid and just, really enjoy the UK tracks and a little splash of Europe here and there.
Well, hopefully we'll get you an iconic Monza podium photo. We've seen a lot of Australian dominance this year in the GB3 Championship. I don't imagine it will be something that happens every year, but you must be pretty proud of representing your country as well across the world.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's not easy for us Aussies to come over here. We call it dingo dollars, so everything doubles, but to come over and be racing the same blokes is quite ironic, but it's really nice. I mean, we had a photo on the podium before. It'll be interesting to look at that in 20 years' time and see where we all are.
Hey, look, we can't wait to see that, but we also can't wait to see how you get on this weekend, so best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Another of our GB3 drivers that is sure to have a big future wherever he ends up in motorsports. Now, we've had Gianmarco Pradella, as I mentioned there. We've got, Deegan Fairclough, we've got Noah Lyle, we've got all these drivers that have been pushing their way through. And of course, there are super license points available for drivers. Just explain what that means to a driver to achieve super license points.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers are hoping to get into Formula One in the years in the future. You need 40 super license points to be able to race in Formula One. You get 10. Well, Alex Ninovic will be gaining 10, so a quarter of the points he needs to race in Formula One. Then there's 7 available for second, 5 for third, 3 for fourth, and 1 for fifth place. And the more points you get earlier on in your career, obviously the better, because it means it puts less pressure on you in the future years if things don't go quite as planned, maybe an F3. It's just also a seal of approval on your CV as a racing driver. You've got super license points. You've beaten some of the best drivers at your level, and you're on your way to Formula One. So it's a lot of pride, but also actual logistical advantage for these drivers.
Still a lot to fight for as well for the drivers this weekend. I know the champion's decided, but a lot of other stuff needs to be decided as well. And of course, we have new faces. We've got 4 new drivers on the grid this weekend, and we'll be hearing from across the weekend. First of all, we're going to hear from someone who's made the step up from GB4. He's just finished the GB4 championship. He's the vice champion. And Isaac Phelps with Elite Motorsport has looked pretty good in testing so far.
Yeah, he's looked pretty comfortable pretty quickly, and it's a big step up for Isaac Phelps and any driver who's done GB4. Step up in terms of speed for the car. He got a lot more aerodynamic grip, a lot more tyre grip, wider tyres. It's a bit heavier, a bit larger, more faster in general. The racing is going to be even more fierce because it's another step up. And also we're here at Monza. I mean, I don't imagine Isaac's done a huge amount of running at Monza in real life. He's done it on the sim, but from what I've been hearing, it's a whole different ball game in real life.
Well, look, Piers caught up with Isaac to see how he's feeling as he makes his debut this weekend in the GB3 Championship.
Isaac, welcome back. A lot of people will know your face, but you're new to the GB3 Championship, second in GB4 just a couple of weeks ago. New challenge for yourself this weekend here in Monza.
Yeah, a fun challenge, a really good weekend. The opportunity of having the GB3 round after GB4 last round is amazing. To be able to come here and just have a go at it for last round and just have a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that as well, because Monza is a pretty cool circuit. I'm sure it's one of yours on your bucket list of circuits you wanted to visit. GB3 car, a bit of a step up for yourself. How are you finding that transition? Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, I'm finding it quite good. Really enjoying it. The massive car is just a really good bit of fun around a track like this. All the tight chicanes, and yeah, the grip is just a mega. And then finding it quite well, I'd say. I think we've made a lot of strides in. Because I've never been here before, unlike some of the drivers who are doing their first round in GB3 as well. So, I've learnt the track quite well now, I think. And we did only one day at Donington, which I feel like went really well. And then having to learn a track has set me back a bit, to be honest, in the learning. But then now I feel that we made a lot of strides and we're able to, work quite well.
And you said, you're with the same colours, same team, of course, Elite Motorsport, the team you came second in GB4 with. It must be good to have that continuity to at least help you with that step up.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing to be able to get the opportunity from Elite, but then it's not a nice thing because the person that's driving it should be here driving it, and everyone would want to see him here, even me. So it's a really nice thing, but a tough thing to think about as well.
Yeah, of course. Will's, I'm sure, willing you on. He would like someone like yourself given an opportunity to race in GB3, and we wish to see Will back on the grid. Quick look ahead to this weekend. What does success look like for you this weekend?
Yeah, I think success to me is hopefully a strong showing in the races. Just getting used to the car, having hopefully a good qualifying for myself, and then also just trying to have a good result in the reverse, probably, because I think that's out of the ordinary for me to be hoping to start at the front in a reverse. But yeah, it's just what the level of this championship is at for me, doing one day and coming here. So yeah, that would be an ideal weekend.
Amazing. Well, Isaac Phelps, best of luck on your first weekend in GB3 Championship. If it's anything like your GB4 season, it should go pretty well.
Thank you.
So that is Isaac Phelps. You'll spot him on the track because on his wings he's got half pink and half fluorescent yellow, so you won't be able to miss him at all. Now, we're here at Monza. Obviously, it's an incredibly Italian place, being in Italy. I think we should go and speak to a real Italian, and there is a chap here that is incredibly Italian. So let's just see if he'll talk to us. Piers, beckon him over. He's your mate.
We'll see if we can get our man that's
Yes.
I speak only French.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, we'll have to speak French. Bonjour.
Bonjour à vous, à tout le monde. Ciao,
Ça va très bien. So we're just obviously ahead of the race that we're doing today. We're here at Monza, so we thought you could tell us something about Monza that we didn't know already.
Is ready for? No, I don't understand. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us what's the best thing about Monza.
The best in Monza?
Yeah, the best thing, the best.
Me.
Oh, what's your name? Sorry, what's your name?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. That's a very Italian name.
Sorry. Scusate ragazzi, scusa, avete il pass?
Yeah, he's got to do his job. We'll do your job very well.
Sorry,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want the peace in the world.
Peace in the world, peace in the world. I think he said peace. I hope he said peace. Anyway, that is our friend Lawrence, who I don't think is your name really Lawrence?
My name?
Yes.
It's a better name in the all over the world, yeah?
Okay.
Your name?
John.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy? No, John what?
Valjean. I don't know. Why are we speaking so much French? Anyway, we can't cut. We're live. This is our man Lawrence. We're here at Monza, and let's just have a look at the track in a bit more detail while we make sure he did say peace.
The Temple of Speed hosts the season finale in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, in the longest run from the start-finish line all the way down into that first corner at the Rettifilo. Very tricky to navigate there, such high speed into a big braking zone round Curva Grande and then into the Rogier chicane. They go through the first Lesmo, where before the second Lesmo they come across the DRS detection point, activation all the way down into the Ascari chicane, flicks left, then through a long right and then through a left again before that final run down into the Parabolica, where they'll have that second DRS detection point and that run all the way back down into the first corner, where is the prime overtaking opportunity on the circuit. 3.6 miles all the way around and very little in terms of elevation. It's mostly just the dip and then the rise back up into Ascari as they go under the old banking here at one of the most historical tracks in the world.
Well, the cars are just firing up here in the pit lane. It's going to be a fantastic sight. The GB3 Championship ending the season here in Monza. These cars going around this epic circuit. And just to get you in the mood, let's take a ride on board with Patrick Heuzenroeder. He'll start on the front row of the grid here at Monza.
Let's ride on board with the GB3 Championship here at the Temple of Speed Monza in 2025. This is Patrick Heuzenroeder on board his XL Motorsport machine. 260 kilometers an hour, 160 miles an hour down towards turn one, braking it just before the 100-meter board to slow up for the first chicane, nipping the first apex nicely and then quickly through the left second apex. We've got a wonderful tow from our teammate of Kabir Anurag ahead as we head through the Curva Grande, the world famous corner, completely flat out. Another opportunity for the drivers to make the most of the large slipstream around this Monza circuit. Very low downforce around here, so the cars will be skittering around through the corners. The Variante Rogier next, left and then right, all the way out to the curb on the exit. Technical middle sector here as we head into the first of two Lesmos. Just watch how much speed we carry through the first Lesmo here. Barely even a brake, fighting the car through the middle and right out to the gravel on the exit. The Lesmo 2, probably the most important corner on the circuit as we have the long run down to Ascari. Now DRS open for the second time in this lap. 2 DRS zones here this weekend. One down the start-finish straight, the second right here as we go under the old circuit towards the Ascari chicane. A beautiful tow through here. Braking just before the 100-meter boards again. Very high minimum speed through here. The gravel on the right-hand side there comes up quickly. We've seen a few drivers take trips through that in practice and qualifying already. Now, just one more straight before we head to the Parabolica, another crucial corner on the lap. A beautiful tow as our teammate just drops out of the way to give us the most downforce to the final corner, braking just after 100 metres, down just one gear at full throttle before the apex, all the way out to the white line, and then cutting back to the right-hand side just to shorten the line for a full lap around the Monza circuit in GB3 in 2025.
It really is an iconic track. Honestly, walking around here, you can feel the history here at Monza. And just speaking to some of the people that have been coming for years, there's some real aficionados of motorsport here. We're waiting for the cars to go out here in the pit lane. We've just been riding on board with Patrick Heuzenroeder. A lot to play for him this weekend. He's 33 points ahead of third place and Gianmarco Pradel. So, he'll be looking to finish second in the championship because, as Piers said earlier on, there are super license points available for these drivers, and that will have a huge impact on what they go on to do as their career goes on. Obviously, Alex Ninovic, who starts on pole position yet again. Where else does he start? He's already got 10 super license points for winning the championship, and of course we will see him get not only the pole position cup but also the world championship. I say world championship, GB3 is around the world now. Yeah, GB3 world champion. That's not technically. I think there's probably terminology I'm not allowed to use, but the GB3 championship trophy tomorrow will be fantastic for him and everyone watching around the world. And also we have Deegan Fairclough. He's still in the mix for finishing second. I believe he can just about do it, but obviously starting on the second row of the grid is not ideal. He would have preferred to have been on pole position, but he'll be certainly looking to make a charge as this race gets underway. not the season that Deegan would have probably wanted. Obviously came into this season from F4 and broke records and did incredibly well there. And would have wanted to maybe break more records this season. It'd be interesting to see if he makes his way back to the GB3 Championship next season. Gianmarco Pradel, we can see here, he's the second road-in driver in the Championship. They're obviously looking to wrap up the Teams Championship as well, and they can very much do it in very easy fashion. They've got a pretty decent lead at the moment with Alex Ninovic himself and Abby Pulling obviously scoring good points this season. But for Gianmarco Pradel, he'll want to come second in the Championship and get those super licence points. Very important to the drivers to get those points. And also, it's pride, isn't it? And when you're moving your way at motorsports ladders, you want to say, well, I didn't come first, but I did come second. You want to be able to shout about something. We can hear the cars around me getting fired up now. Haven't seen any boards being waved, but we probably need to get off the track because they will be going out in just a second. Just going to move our way over here. Lots of people involved in the GB3 Championship. Loads of people having a great day at Monza, watching from the stands here. So for the first time this weekend, the first time ever in the GB3 Championship, let's go racing here at Monza.
For the first time in the history of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, we are ending the season abroad. And that means for the first time, we are taking a trip to the legendary Temple of Speed. Yes, of course, it is the Monza circuit, one of the most iconic places in the world of motorsport. Distinct in its speed on that run down into turn one. Such a tricky braking zone to open up the circuit, especially on lap number one. Through Curva Grande, the long right-hander, then into the Rogier. A flick left going through the Lesmo 1 and then into Lesmo 2. We have our first DRS point and we go through the Ascari chicane, which has been so troublesome for the drivers going through qualifying. The final corner at Parabolica takes us back onto the start-finish straight. And again, that big run down into the first corner. It's 3.6 miles around and not too much in terms of elevation. It's just that dip as we go under the banking, the old historic banking, of course, and that run back into the first corner. Over 100 years of racing around this circuit, and it's so great to have it as our season finale in 2025. It is a familiar name, though, at the front end of the field. You saw him there at the end of pit lane. Alex Ninovic has once again qualified on pole position. He is, of course, our 2025 GB3 champion. Looking to score some points, though, for Rodin. Of course, for the Rodin team, they could potentially clinch the title here this round. I mean, they will do, or maybe Hi-Tech will steal it away from them. They need to leave this race, though, with a 124-point lead in the Teams Championship. At the moment, they have 132. So effectively, if they score about the same as Hi-Tech TGR, then they will clinch the title here in today's race. As always, in the commentary booth, it's myself, Lewis McGlade, and sprinting up from the paddock area, it's Piers Pryor.
It's a fair way, Lewis, I must admit. A big circuit here at Monza, at 3.6 miles, but also a fair way from the paddock up into the commentary box. We're on the outside of the circuit overlooking the start line, so we'll get a perfect view of the launches of the first 3 rows or so, and that's going to be very important. You mentioned it in the track guide just a moment ago. Longest run from the start-finish line to turn number 1. A big braking zone down there. It sort of bottlenecks in the middle as well. So drivers, I think, for this first race in GB3 history here at Monza, will be looking to just get through that first chicane cleanly and then see how the race plays out there. Things to look out for this weekend. Very long straights, lots of DRS opportunities. We've got the long run down towards turn 1, Ascari as well. The tow should keep the pack close together, but the middle sector, the drivers have got their setups hooked up. They'll be able to stay close and then give themselves the best opportunity of an overtake, potentially down towards Ascari, and also, never count out a big lunge down towards turn number 1 as well.
Yeah, it's about 260 kilometres an hour they're doing down into that first corner. It's about just shy of 160 miles an hour, isn't it? Such a tough braking zone. And there's no second chances, no do-overs going down into that chicane. Not like what most of us get when we get our second chances and playing video games and whatnot. No, you've just got to send it, maybe try and go for those moves. It's a tricky corner to get that overtake done, as much as it's ideally the most open opportunity for racing. So easy to lock a front tyre and go straight onto that point.
Yeah.
You get 13 laps though.
Yeah, of course. And also it's more grippy. Most grip is on the normal racing line on the outside, so if you are going for a move on the inside, you have to brake later on the slightly less rubbered in part of the circuit. We'll see how that plays out throughout this 13-lap race, as you mentioned there, Lewis. Average speed is going to be very high this weekend. Looking forward to the first race here at Monza in this championship.
Yeah, indeed. Bet they'll get the formation up, I think, underway in just a second's time, and we'll see them roll around the circuit. Of course, it's going to be Ninovic and Heuzenroeder on that front row of the grid for our opening race of this season finale. The top two in the championship who had battled out time and time again. Great to see if Ninovic can actually win this race, continue on his winning form, try and break some more records.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him take another win. He's taken so many this season, which has helped him get the championship already. We've mentioned it already in the pre-show, but I think it's worth noting again. We've not seen dominance like this in the championship, and it's nothing to do with the strength of field. We've had a very, very close championship. I mean, second through fifth place is very much still up for grabs. Heuzenroeder currently sitting second in the championship ahead of Pradell, Fairclough, Seaworth, Noah Lyle. Al-Azari also having an outside shot, I think, at second place in the championship, should everything go his way. But he's going to struggle. He was a driver who was unlucky in qualifying, the bright pink BWT Alpine Academy driver. He goes from the back of the field for high-tech TGR. An issue in qualifying meant that he didn't get the laps in that he was likely to have got based on the pace we saw in practice. It looks like formation lap is underway, so the drivers will be working hard to get as much temperature in those tyres and brakes as possible for that first run down towards turn number one.
Yeah, and like you say, with Al-Azari starting from the rear end of the field, that does mean that for high-tech TGR to maybe keep this championship fight going for the team's championship into tomorrow's race would be a tough call for them. But still, you can see them rolling around the formation. Unfortunately, we won't have the starting graphic, but I still will read you through the grid. It's Alex Ninovic starting from pole position with Patrick Heuzenroeder in second place. Then, of course, the second row of the grid, it's Deegan Fairclough and Jean-Marco Pradell. Then in fifth position, new driver to the championship, Maxime Rem will be joining us, starting from fifth position alongside Jack Sherwood. Great qualifying from him. Newman Chi starting from seventh position, another new driver. Both of those new drivers up here starting for the Hill Speed team. We'll be catching up with them as the weekend unfolds. Chi will be starting alongside Abby Pulling. Kabir Anurag starts in ninth position, just ahead of Reza Sawuthan, of course. Then it's Lucas Flusha, of course, winner last time out, Patricio Gonzalez, Enzo Tarvanichkal, Flynn Jacks, Isaac Phelps on debut, 15th position for him, Noah Lyle in 16th. Kai Darianani from 17th position with August Raber on his return to the championship. Rodrigo Gonzalez, Bart Harrison, again continuing on his form after the last round. And then the final row of the grid, it is Bianca Bustamante and Keanu Al-Azari. Drivers like Reza Seaworthen, for example, not able to carry on that fantastic form that he had. Of course, it was 2 races and 2 podiums in the opening 2 races at Donington Park.
Yes, it was a great weekend for Lucas. Very different challenge here, though, at Monza. It's Donington Park, lots of medium speed corners, a couple of high speed corners, then you've got those hairpins, shorter circuit, different tarmac, different weather conditions. It was freezing at Donington, wasn't it, Lewis? Whereas here, quite pleasant conditions. It must be nudging 20 degrees at the moment. 18.4 says the screen in front of me. Track temperature just in the low 30s. We certainly weren't getting that at Donington Park, so that affects how the drivers have to get the tyres in, how long it takes the drivers' tyres to get in. Different aerodynamic setups on these cars as well. They'll be running very much low downforce setup, very flat wings to produce the least amount of drag, because so much of this circuit is at completely full throttle.
Certainly so. Well, I think the questions might be asked as to how many more times can Alex Ninovic win in this championship since it was rebranded to GB3 back in 2022. The most amount of victories a single driver, so 2021 it was actually rebranded, and then the first full season was 2022. The most amount of wins a single driver has taken in a season before that was 5. Alex Ninovic is on 8 and we have 3 more races to go, and he's starting from pole position in 2 of them. You think he's going to win this race?
I think there's a good chance he could. He's just looked so in control. Lewis, we were up at the Ascari chicane watching in qualifying. He just looked like that car was on absolute rail. So clearly Rodin doing a good job, but also he is absolutely at one with that car, as is proven by the number of pole positions he's taken this year. And he's pretty happy about that, and so is his bank account. The Jack Kevill pole position cup is going towards him, and also his bank account being bolstered by Jon Cavill and his pole position checks. But he doesn't really, I'm sure he cares more about wins than he does about the checks, because that's what's going to get him towards his goal of potentially the top of the sport. Maybe we'll be seeing the likes of Ninovic on the front row at this circuit in a few years' time in Formula 1 as Res rise for the first time in GB3.
Yeah, for the 9th time, it's Alex Ninovic starting from pole position and leading as he heads down into the first corner, but such a long run, the longest run in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC down into the first corner. You've got Ninovic going on the defence. Patrick Heuzenroeder has looked back to the right-hand side as we get onto the brakes. Bit of a lock-up there from Heuzenroeder. Is he going to go straight on? Yes, he is. He's going to skip over in the opening chicane. There's drama in the background for, I think that might have been, it was one of the elites. Is that our new elite driver of Isaac Phelps? We'll have to jump back to that one in a second, going very slow in the Rettifilo.
Yeah, we're still fighting for the lead. Heuzenroeder tried around the outside of turn 1, locked up, just carried a bit too much speed, and Ninovic holds the lead. We go down towards turn 1. We've got more cars off in the background, so it looks like we've lost 4 already that we've seen side by side in the mid-pack through the Roger chicane. And who is that? That is, unfortunately, Isaac Phelps, driver, and the 88 of Kai Darianani. It's front right contact for Darianani and rear left contact for Phelps, so I imagine they've probably just come together on the entry of the first corner.
Yeah, and we'll get an update in a second as to who's not come through. You've got Rodrigo Gonzalez and Bart Harrison also not come through. I think those 2 were the ones that were off going through Curva Grande. Safety car has been deployed, unsurprisingly here, as instantly going into tyre warming is the number 7 of Deegan Fairclough, who sits in 3rd position of the race. Marco Pretel directly behind. You'll see that timing sheet move over. There is the brake fire coming in on board the JHR. Terrible first lap there for JHR. Kai Darianani and Bart Harrison both getting involved. Talk me through this.
Yeah, so Heuzenroeder at the front of the field, locks up, takes too much speed, and the back of shot, Lewis, you saw it there.
I think it was one of the Argenti with Prema that got into the rear end. Cut back to me in a second.
Yeah, sure. Unfortunate there, and then we had here is another angle from the inside. So a few drivers locking up as the tyres aren't exactly at the right temperature quite yet. Heuzenroeder, you can see going through the gravel, and the back of shot, the incident's already happened between Phelps and
I think Raber.
And Raber. Yeah, Raber's going slowly as well. Yeah, so looks like we've got a red flag actually at the moment, as we've seen from the timing screen. So we're going to have a halt to this race due to the number of cars, I would imagine, that are stationary on circuit.
Yeah, so they'll be heading around then, which would be a return to the original race starting positions for all those cars, because we didn't complete a lap. And obviously when you do a red flag, it goes back to the start of the previous lap, which means that we would be then restarting from the original race order, with certain drivers missing. Of course, those 4 in Phelps, Darianani, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Bart Harrison all would be missing from that grid. But you wouldn't technically gain the spot from them. You'd be starting from, say, for example, Bianca Bustamante, who then has 2 cars directly ahead in Bart Harrison and Rodrigo Gonzalez in 20th and 19th position, but she'd still be starting from the 21st grid slot, having an entire row ahead of her clear, as far as my understanding of the rules is.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding as well, Lewis. So we'll keep you updated. Of course, there may be instructions from race control about that. Talking about instructions from race control, here at the Monza circuit, a couple of chicanes, turn 1, which we're looking at the replay again. Let's look at the back of shot and see how that all started. It was front to. You're right, Lewis. It was. I think it was Rabat that unfortunately just unloaded the rear of. Was it unloaded the rear of Darianani, which clattered into Phelps, or was it Phelps that cut across the front of Darianani? We don't see it in this shot here. We just see in the back of shot now. Where is it? Phelps will arrive on the grass already, fairly heavily into the wall. Actually, no tyre barrier there, straight into the concrete wall.
Yeah.
And then Rabat's already cutting the chicane on the inside. I think due to the contact that he's sustained, seeing it was going 3 wide ahead. Unfortunate for Phelps, really. I don't think he did a huge amount wrong there. Not exactly the way he would have liked to start his GB3 campaign. There's 3 cars.
3 cars in there,
Who is the 3rd car there? It wasn't Rabber again, was it? No, I don't think it was.
No.
The dust clouding our vision. Oh, yeah, and Darianani pointing, saying, we need a fire extinguisher here, lads.
we've got a brake fire. Reason for the brake fire, the drivers are on and off the brakes heavily on the warm-up lap to try and get as much temperature into the brakes, which goes into the discs, the wheel, and then the front tyre. There's Rodrigo Gonzalez and is that Bart Harrison's car? Yeah, so that's those two. Rodrigo's still in the car. I think he was hoping to get pushed back on, but that's not how it works here, Rodrigo. Maybe in America, where he's done most of his racing, he could have get plopped back on the circuit and carry on, but not here under FIA rules.
I wonder if the other car that joined them off, obviously Enzo Tarnvanichka went straight on. So I'm looking at their second sectors and when they're like quite slow compared to the rest of the field. I think it might have been potentially Bianca Bustamante that was the third driver, because the first sector is 52 seconds from Bustamante compared to the rest of the field. That's about 12 seconds slower. I would assume that's come from the contact in that group.
Yeah, so maybe Bustamante made it through the gravel and continued on, which is fine. As long as you get back on the circuit under your own steam, you will be able to do that restart. I'm trying to just peep out of the commentary box and see if Bianca is in the pit lane or whether she has managed to get on the back of the grid. I think she has provisionally joined the back of the queue. We'll keep you updated. It's a long way off, testing my eyesight there and the off in the distance. But you can see pretty much everyone else roughly in the same order that we started off the original grid position. Must say, Jack Sherwood, good qualifying from him, was 6th on the grid, as we can see the zoom boom coming out to remove Rodrigo Gonzalez's VRD car, the 14. But Sherwood, good in qualifying. He's looked quick this weekend, and in fact, especially the XLs. I was watching, as we mentioned before, Lewis and I with John, our presenter, we were watching Ascari Chicane. The cars that stood out to me through the Ascari Chicane that looked the most balanced, the Rodins, unsurprisingly, with Ninovic at the front of the field and Gianmarco Pradel starting in 4th as well. But also all 3 of the XR Motorsport cars. Second place, Heuzenroeder is an XL car. Jack Sherwood in 6th, and also a pretty solid return to the championship for Kabir Anurag as well. A driver that's racing pretty much exclusively F4 machinery up until now. And he was looking quick. Didn't get it completely hooked up in the first session. He qualified 18th, but I think he was higher on the grid in that or will be going from a higher up the grid in that second race. Unfortunately for Bart Harrison to go out of the race. He joined us for the first time last time out in Donington. And we'll have to wait until tomorrow to get a proper taste of what it's like to race around Monza.
And he had a struggle in qualifying as well, so he's starting from the back of the field. Unfortunately, in tomorrow's race, didn't go out for Q2, if memory serves. Got a tyre going out there from an elite mechanic. Can take a guess that must be then for Bianca Bustamante.
Yeah, so Bianca, we're putting 2 and 2 together and trying to make 4 here. I think Bianca is at the back of that queue, will take the restart, but may have a puncture. Lewis, you mentioned a moment ago Bart Harrison involved in an incident in qualifying. We saw that live.
Right in front of us.
Right in front of us. It was an unfortunate one. It was Bianca Bustamante, actually, again, just running through the gravel. And then very close. Bart Harrison was following one of the hill speeds very closely, as you're allowed to do. But unfortunately, when Bianca slid back on the circuit, there was a bit of a miscommunication. Bart just ran into the back of one of the hill speeds. We didn't catch who it was and ended up in the gravel. So unfortunately, he didn't get a good or full lap in the first part of qualifying, and also will go from the back of the grid in the second race as well, because he was stranded in the gravel and couldn't take part in that second qualifying session. Reminder that the format for qualifying, a 15-minute session sets the grid for race 1, which is this grid that you're looking at right now. There's a 5-minute break, and then a second qualifying session, 15 minutes again, sets the grid for race 2. Slight amendment to what we used to do, where it was 2 fastest laps from one session, for those who maybe are just joining the championship again after a couple of years out, which actually I think has been a really good addition to the championship, Lewis. I really like the fact that it's 2 qualifying sessions. So the drivers, if they're quick in session 1, they have to then replicate that, deliver again. So you're effectively getting twice the value as a driver in having to deliver on a new set of tyres than you potentially would have done in previous years, where you could do a good run and make that, do 2 laps on the same run. It's real important skill that these drivers need to learn, hone and perfect, is being able to go out there and perform go out there and perform on the first or second flying lap and get the lap done when you need it, because that's what you need to be able to do in Formula 3, Formula 2 and eventually Formula 1 or even GTs, hypercars, whatever, because these tyres are absolutely at their best when they are brand new and the first heat cycle and when they're hot enough on that first flying lap.
So we've just had the reset come in from race control on the grid, so it will be returning to the original grid for the drivers, as we expect from a red flag, as we were saying. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I love the fact that we've got 2 qualifying sessions. I think it's a really good addition to the season, because also, if you get blocked a little bit in qualifying, then you're only going to get blocked in one session, so you can potentially make the best of a bad situation and improve. In the old qualifying system, if you got kind of a car ahead of you that was a bit slower, you're kind of stuck behind them for the whole session. Did notice in qualifying, especially in Q1, one specific driver was like, I'm not having any part of this, and backed off of the whole train. Even though when we were talking, they expect that the toe is worth about 7 to 8 tenths of a second around here. It was Reza Seawortham who was like, I'm not being a part of this, sat by himself, but it meant that he was really impressive through the Scari. It was a full send because he has no one ahead of him, no dirty air, no nothing. He was comfortable.
It's a weird one in qualifying in single-seaters around Monza. We've seen it in Formula 3 in years gone by, Formula 2 as well, even in Formula 1, drivers jostling, vying for a toe because there's so much of the circuit is completely flat out in a dead straight line. You can gain a lot more from being behind a driver on the straights than you lose from the dirty air around the corners. Now, there is a balance to play there, because if you're right up behind someone and they make a mistake, you're then going to basically be halted or hindered by their mistakes. So picking a right space, picking a nice gap to the drivers ahead, or a driver that maybe you trust is going to be pretty consistent, who's normally as quick or slightly slower, only slightly slower than you, is a skill in itself, and one that the drivers will have had experience at now driving at Monza in a single-seater. So those drivers are on this grid now that will end up racing in Formula 3 and Formula 2, which is inevitable. We'll see these drivers, some of them on the grid in those championships in years in the future. They will have had experience of that, which if they'd have joined the championship having not raced at Monza, that they would be doing it for the first time in a much higher championship. So it's another example of why it's so good having a Formula 1 circuit on the GB3 calendar.
Certainly so. Well, whilst we're in this red flag delay, before the race, just after qualifying, we were able to catch up to our double pole sitter for this round, Alex Ninovic. You were able to have a little chat with him. Let's hear what he had to say.
Alex, we've been here before. It doesn't matter if we're in England, Europe, new circuit, circuit we've been to before. Another double pole position, that makes it 10 for the year. Your average pole position will be well into the ones this year. So you must be happy with this weekend and also your pace over the season.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe how successful we've been this year in qualifying, especially. It's been amazing, and I can't thank the team Road and Motorsport enough for giving me the car to go out there and do it. And yeah, it's all the preparation behind the scenes that makes it look probably so easy.
Amazing. It clearly was working well out there for you, the car. I was watching up at Ascari. It looked like the Rodin cars, all three of you, were just on rails through there compared to a lot of the other competitors. Obviously, the team would do a lot as well, but you have to drive it too. Tell us about the challenge of the Monza circuit and what you had to do to extract that time on circuit here. Yeah,
definitely. Being an early session, a bit cold in the morning, the track temps are quite low, so tyre warm-up's important, but as well as making sure you maximise the grip that's out there, as there's been a few other classes going in qualifying new tyres, so the track grip does go up, so you have to make sure that you maximise that as much as possible, which I managed to do. I didn't think I did a good of enough job to be at the front really for the track conditions, but yeah, it was enough, and yeah, I'm really happy with how the car felt. We made a few changes overnight, which I thought wouldn't have made much difference, but they seemed to just give us that tiny bit extra, which I think we definitely maximised.
It's a different driving challenge here at Monza as well. A lot less downforce, I imagine, on the car than we had at Donington a few weeks ago. Does that make it a bit different for you to drive? How do you have to adapt your driving to get the most of that?
Yeah, as we're running literally no downforce for Monza, it definitely changes the way the car moves around in the high speed, as well as your braking, your technique to get the car stopped with the way the downforce works.
Yeah, less load on the tyres, meaning that you have to change that. Alex, we've said this before a lot of times, 10 pole positions in total to go from pole position in race 1 and race 2. Already champion. I suppose you're just out here for a bit of fun this weekend then?
Yeah, should be good fun out there in the races. Hopefully we'll see what happens, but it should be interesting.
Alex, congratulations.
Thank you.
Obviously got a good little chat there with Ninovic. That was nice to hear. And again, how to piece together another double pole. Again, it'll be his 9th and 10th pole positions. That's never happened in GB3 before. We've never had a champion before the final weekend crowned in GB3. So it's another new thing. He's been absolutely sensational this season. And probably someone who's been quite bored on that grid at the moment, because he's been sat there for a little while, whilst obviously all of our fantastic marshals do a lot of work to clear up the circuit. You can see a lot of movement on the grid there as various cars are being pushed back into their slots. Then we'll have a formation lap again, and then we'll be able to go. It will be a reduced race length down to 20 minutes or 10 laps. We should get 10 laps. We should definitely get 10 laps.
Assuming there's no more safety cars, which is a bold assumption to make. We've already had a couple of incidents. Hopefully this second start can be a little bit more tidy, shall we say. A few drivers coming together at the first start. None of the drivers in the first 4 or 5 positions changed position, really. It was pretty much line astern. Pat Heuzenroeder gave it a good go around the outside. Might have learned something from that and might be even better equipped to try and take the lead. I know Pat doesn't hold any punches. He's confident and he wants to try and take some wins at the end of this year. Mentioned already, but Excel doing a good job this weekend. I think they look pretty strong, especially to that middle sector.
Yeah, the only thing with Pat is he's got to be a little bit careful going into that first corner again, because obviously he put a little bit too much load onto the front left and locked up and then went straight on. But then also, obviously we had the drama behind. August Raber's going to be able to go into this race, but the two drivers that were effectively a part of that incident when he drove into the back of Kai Darren, loaded him up, sent him straight into the side of Isaac Phelps, and those two won't be seeing the race start again. But August Draper, well, that's sometimes how it goes.
Yeah, and we noticed that Heuzenroeder went through the gravel at turn, the little gravel strip at turn number 1. Instruction from the race directors about the Roggia chicane,
yes.
Variante della Roggia. I don't know how is best. I don't speak any Italian, but it's the second chicane after the Curva Grande. If the drivers go through the gravel, they must rejoin the circuit between the yellow line and the end of the runoff. If that makes sense. If they go off earlier and don't make it through the gravel, they have to go around the bollard. So there's so that is something to look out for, because if the drivers completely miss that little gravel strip, and they do that so that they don't drag a load of gravel onto the circuit, basically deliberately.
Yeah,
because we don't want to see the gravel on the circuit, as we've seen many times at Ascari as well.
Ascari's the big one.
Yeah, Ascari is the big one. We've seen
loads gets pulled on there.
Yeah, we saw that in F3 earlier on this year, the category above this, but also we've seen it in practice already as well. Drivers just carrying a bit too much speed to the first apex of Ascari, and you just end up washing ever so slightly wide, and the gravel being right next to the curb means that it just flicks it onto the circuit, and the gravel on the road literally acts like marbles. You literally skitter off, and that'll be something to keep an eye on. And also, the drivers at the front of the field, let's say Ninovic, they'll have to be looking ahead and looking at the road surface in that sort of situation, because one lap it'll be completely clear, and he could turn up the next lap and there'll be a load of gravel on the circuit. Ninovic is going to be reasserting himself at the front of the field, trying to pull away. He got a pretty much perfect start away from the start of the race in that first go. Heuzenroeder was right there. Pretty even go from the first 2 or 3 rows as we go for a formation lap once again here. First lap of the race this weekend wasn't the cleanest, but we're hoping that they've already had experience in the first lap so far, and we'll go once again.
Certainly so. Well, obviously with them rolling through, you can see there was a big gap on the grid, like what I described back before. So for the likes of Bianca Bustamante, there will be a clear gap. I think one of the big problems with that race start was Keanu Alazari, who we'll see in a second, starts from 22nd position. He got all the way up to 15th, but of course we'll have to do all that work once again. So Alex Ninovic will be starting from pole position. We'll go through the grid graphic with Patrick Heuzenroeder starting on that front row alongside. Third place is Deegan Fairclough and of course Gianmarco Padel, all very much untouched in that top grouping. Then it's Maxime Rennes, who'll be starting from 5th position with Jack Sherwood alongside great qualifying from Sherwood there in 6th position for the XL Motorsports team. Again, looking pretty strong. Then, of course, it's Newman Cheat, who'll be starting with 7th position alongside Abby Pulling in 8th. Then it'll be Kabir Anurag and Reza Seaworthen from the final position inside the top 10. Lucas Flusha and Patricio Gonzalez for VRD Racing from that 12th position, the number 35. Of course, that's one with the red highlights. Enzo Tarvanichko in the Red Bull Racing team, Red Bull Racing livery, of course, and the VRD Racing car starting from 13th position. Flynn Jacks from 14th position. Isaac Phelps not taking to that race start, of course. Noah Lyle will be starting from 16th place. Then a couple of drivers missing. Obviously, got Kai Darianani, who'll be missing. August Raber will be on the grid for the Argenti with Kramer. Rodrigo Gonzalez and Bart Harrison. The pair of those, I believe, will not be taken to the race start. Bianca Bustamante and Keanu Alazari will be, though, from the final row of the grid.
Ones to watch in this race, Maxim Rem, new driver to the championship. Not got a huge amount of experience in single-seater racing, but clearly got the speed in that hill speed car. He's going to be right up there. He's been at this circuit before and been successful in other championships. Also watch out for Noah Lyle for JHR Developments, going off 16th. He qualified second in the second qualifying sessions. We'll be going from the front row tomorrow morning. So we know he's got the pace over one lap. Didn't get to show it maybe in the first part of qualifying. He might be racy from the back of the field.
Indeed. And again, just to really hammer home that gaps on the grid kind of thing, race control message to all the drivers. Drivers must leave the available gaps on the grid. They're not allowed to move forward. Yes, of course, they will gain that down into the first corner, but it's just a stipulation where, like, you know where you're starting on the grid, so you start in that slot.
Yeah, you don't get promoted due to someone else's misfortune, basically, which is quite hard to do, actually, because often when all the cars are rolling up to the grid, when you're all rolling in formation, it's quite easy to miss your grid slot and then pull up behind the car in front when you should be leaving a space. But just a little procedural thing there for the drivers to keep an eye on. No change at the front of the field, though. All drivers inside the top 10 will be in exactly the same place they started that first time by. Slightly reduced race reminder, 10 laps or 20 minutes. Hopefully we get all 10 laps in, because that would be good to see a full, pretty much nearly a full race distance here at the Monza circuit. So far, we haven't had a huge amount of racing. Looking forward to seeing how this plays out for the first time. First full race in GB3 in 2025 at Monza.
And that podium you can see in the background is the podium that will be used, which will be the first 3 drivers in the GB3 Championship history to take a step on that podium. The Temple of Speed waits, and we go racing once again. 10 laps onto the clock. Once again, a great start from Alex Ninovic. Not a great one, though, from Patrick Heuzenroeder this time, as he's already being passed by Deegan Fairclough. He's had a fantastic start from the second row of the grid. He's going to look to the outside, that number 7 Rocket-sponsored high-tech TGR car, as he looks to the outside. Can't quite complete the move. One car off in the background. Not 100% sure as to who that was.
Pulling.
Also, Bianca Bustamante will skip over. We are getting word it was Abby Pulling who skipped over at that chicane as well. So Bianca Bustamante and Abby Pulling across the escape road down at turn 1.
Yeah, Pulling's lost out a lot of time there, unfortunately. She decided to back out early to not get involved in all the battling, as we've got a battle for the lead now, as Heuzenroeder making the most of the tow around the curve. A grande as Fairclough just holding on to third place, just about. Fairclough actually had the best start of all the top 4 positions initially off the line, then bogged down in the second phase of the start. As we now see Hill Speeds and the Argentis fighting in the middle of the top 10. That'll be Newman Chi, I think, fighting with Kabir Anurag.
Yeah, certainly so. You've got Enzo Tarvanichko as well, trying to keep Noah Lyle at bay. He's had a good start to the race. Did notice that Gianmarco Pradel was able to get ahead of Deegan Fairclough. Fairclough getting back through in the third position. And Pat Heuzenroeder all over the rear end of our champion, of course, in Alex Ninovic. Patrick Heuzenroeder has been victorious this season before. It was when he was back to being a championship leader, of course, in just the 4th race of the season. That was abroad. That was when we were racing at Zandvoort. He's trying to do the same thing again. Here comes the big slipstream games.
Yeah, we're going to see the drivers weave left and right just to try and break any of the tow they can, as defensive down towards there's Lucas Flusha defending from Kabir Anurag. Anurag all the way around the outside.
No, I think that's Reza Seaworthen.
Oh, yes, sorry, my mistake. Car. Yeah, you're right, Lewis, it is.
Superb overtake there going into the Parabolica. Of course, we will call it the Parabolica. It does have a second name. I did tell you it was earlier, but no, it is the Alboreto curve going through that final corner, or the Parabolica. Some defensive lines coming in ahead, behind. Nothing coming in from Alex Ninovic as he sits stoically at the front of the field. Some big moves coming in behind the 2 XL cars going side by side. There is a little bit of contact as well. Sherwood pushed off the road slightly.
Yeah, that was rude there. That was a good racing between Anurag and Sherwood. You're right, Lewis, it was Seaworthen fighting with Maxim Rem, as we've got Bianca Bustamante stopped at the first corner. She's waving her hands to say that's it, car has stopped. So we'll see if that car can be retrieved, as now Deegan Fairclough looks like he's the one who's looking most attacking at this stage, was right underneath the rear wing of Patrick Heuzenroeder. Fairclough in the grey fronted number 7 high-tech car, and he was right underneath the rear wing of the white, blue and pink number 5 XL car of Pat Heuzenroeder, who sits in second place at the moment. This is a replay. Look at the back of the field to see how Bianca Bustamante ended up spinning around. Oh, she was tagged
by a teammate.
Was it? I think it was, yeah.
I think it was Flynn Jacks.
Flynn Jacks. I think it was just a concertina effect, as the safety car has been deployed for that car. So we, for now, race neutralised, but we continue circulating and the laps will continue ticking down. It is still Ninovic, our champion, that leads ahead of second in the championship and second in the race, Heuzenroeder. We've got Fairclough and Pradell in that order. They are third and fourth in the other order in the championship. Actually, we've got restarted, so well done to Bianca for getting the car restarted there. Sometimes they can be pretty tricky to restart once if they stall when the engine is warm, but eventually got that going, and means that we should have a fairly short safety car intervention, I would hope.
Certainly so. Well, here's back to some of the stuff that was also earlier in the race as they were going. There was right off the road there for Patricio Gonzalez. Of course, the red highlights on that VRD car. Of course, it's Rodrigo in the pink. But we can see the safety car there. Just because Bianca Bustamante's got back going again, we still have to do the safety car procedure. So they have to be picked up, and then the safety car has to be brought back in. They can't just be like, oh, well, never mind then.
No, of course, because it would be unsafe for the drivers. They would not be expecting a green flag at the start-finish line, and it would cause a lot of chaos, which is, and generally chaos leads to unsafe driving. So it'd be a fairly swift lap from the safety car, I'd imagine, assuming there's nothing else on circuit that we've missed, and I don't think there is, which means we'll be going green this time. Drivers will be weaving left and right, trying to keep a fair amount of tyre temperature. Actually, not too hard on tyres around here at Monza, with the lot of the circuit being completely flat out in a straight line. It doesn't put anywhere near as much energy through the tyres as long corners. So, the tyres will be lasting a bit better. However, if you can keep your tyres up to temperature, you'll have a bit of a grip advantage when the safety car restart does come by. We've seen Ninovic a number of occasions leading when safety car restarts. He generally is pretty strong with those. But here's a whole different kettle of fish. We mentioned it before the start, but that run from the start-finish line where you can overtake down towards turn number 1 is so long that even if you've got a 3 or 4 or 5, 6 car length gap, that could be eroded by the time we get to the braking zone of turn number 1.
Certainly so. Just to confirm, safety car in this lap. We will be getting the green flag back out. I wonder if Bianca Bustamante will be able to close the rest of the field. I think unlikely. Going down into the opening chicane now, almost certainly will not be able to close up unless Ninovic really slows this down. He does sometimes like a good slow restart, though. Yeah,
he does, but Bianca was nearly 1 minute 20 behind, or 1 minute 10 behind Patricio Gonzalez, with only gaining 10 seconds in the middle sector. She's going to be way off the back of the field. This will basically turn into a glorified test session, as one of the lights on the safety car was flapping around a little bit.
Right.
But you were right, Lewis. Very slow crawl for Alex Ninovic. You can see the whole pack of drivers. What's that? How many remaining? 18 cars, 17 without Bustamante. And he's gone fairly early, Lewis. He has blacked them up, and he's gone pretty early. And that's given him at least 4 or 5 car lengths going through the apex of Parabolica. So you can see his car wiggling, squirming around through the apex of the Alboreto or Parabolica, whichever way you prefer it.
He might be a sitting duck, though, coming down to the first corner. Green flag is being waved. Of course, DRS is not active yet here. But Patrick Heuzenroeder will be trying to close his way up. But he does have to worry about Deegan Fairclough behind. It's going to give you a big tow as they speed up to about 260 kilometres an hour. Onto the brakes they go, going into that opening corner. A bit of a lock up there from Alex Ninovic. He's able to pull it up to the curb and to the opening part of that chicane. But I get the feeling that Patrick Heuzenroeder might be going on the attack coming into the Roger. He looks to the inside at Curva Grande.
He's got a little bit of an overlap going through the Curva Grande, but A good exit out of turn 1 is keeping Heuzenroeder at bay just for now. But defensive once again goes Ninovic down towards the Rogier. Look who's right there. Deegan Fairclough looking to try and take that second position away from Heuzenroeder if he makes any mistake.
And Fairclough is looking for his first victory in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. We've had him on the podium a few times. We had him return to the podium, of course, last round back in Donington Park in race number 2. He's still awaiting, though, that first victory. He's hungry for it, and he is a driver that will get his elbows out if he needs to.
Yeah, very much so. We've seen him be very aggressive with his overtakes in the season so far. Not quite been as high up the field as maybe he would have liked with various things this year. Things haven't quite gone his way. If we see him back in the championship next year, he'll certainly be up there as one of the favourites. But the favourite for the championship this year was Alex Ninovic pretty much from the first round, and he's taken it already and is starting to gap a little bit Heuzenroeder to that middle sector where he was so strong in qualifying. Just that couple of extra car lengths through the Scari means that he's not going to be completely under pressure from Heuzenroeder going down towards the Parabolica, but it's nose to tail for the rest of the field.
Certainly so. Now through the Parabolica, like you say, let's see if Reza Seaworthen, who has made up a few spots on that opening lap after the red flag and was able to close his way up to the top group. Can he make some more spots? You can see there on the right hand side, Noah Lyle up 7 positions, up 4 for Seaworthen. So there are a few drivers who've been able to comfortably work their way up the field. And of course, this lap DRS is active. It is active out of Lesmo 2 down into Ascari, and of course across the start finish straight as well. Separated detection points for the first one. It's on the entrance into the second. Lesmo got to be within a second of the car ahead going into there, and of course into the Parabolica. Then it goes for the DRS zone out onto the start finish straight. Did notice a bit of front wing damage there on the nose cone of Keanu Alazari.
Was it Deegan Fairclough as well? As wide out of the chicane there goes Newman Chi in the red hill speed car. Just dropping a wheel in the gravel as defensive goes Reza Seaworthen. He's been on the move in this race. He's gone up from 10th to 6th in this one, backwardly mobile in this one. Jack Sherwood started 6th. Unfortunately, he's just dropped outside the top 10, sitting in 11th place at the moment. Oh, on the back of the shot, that's Flynn Jacks running wide, and now he's going to let the 47 of August Raber, and also who's that all made it through as well? Kabir Anurag, or no, Patricio Gonzalez.
Yeah, I believe so. So down to the rear end of this train now in 17th position. The only driver behind is Bianca Bustamante. There has been an issue for Enzo Tarvanichkul going through Ascari. I think he's skipped over the inside of the final section of that, and he's going to lose out to Keanu Alazari and potentially Kabir Anurag. He's going straight back on the attack though in that Red Bull car. Looks down the inside, and the bright pink BWT of the number 6 of Keanu Alazari, who started from the rear end of this field, is working his way back up, but can he potentially keep Anurag and Tarvanichkul behind?
Yes, it's close for second place still. Heuzenroeder just about in DRS to Ninovic, but it's not going to... Oh, it's just... You can see the rear wing of Fairclough's car wiggling backwards and forwards there. That says to me that he's got his brake bias wound pretty far backwards, and the rear tyres are chattering on the entry to the first chicane, braking so hard down there. You know, it'll be what we know it's 260 kilometres an hour down, losing at least 180, 190 kilometres an hour in less than 100 metres. As now Gianmarco Pradel has a look on the inside of the Rogier, trying to get past for that final spot on the podium. It's pretty close, 2nd through 4th.
Yeah, certainly so. Just going to touch on it at the moment as things run in this race. Rodin would become our team's champions of 2025. Feels like it's something that we're just really waiting for them to tick off at the moment, but this result would certainly clinch the title for them. They have to hang on to this for 5 more minutes. Can Ninovic hang on to the race lead? Patrick Heuzenroeder is right onto the rear end of him, and once again I don't think he's going to have a particularly easy run and a dominant run down to the checker flag. He's going to be feeling that pressure all the way to it.
It seems like every lap we go down towards turn number 1, the field gets closer and closer together. Here as well, you can see Ninovic, as much as he's got 4 or 5 tenths, he's still feeling the need to weave side to side just to give himself a little bit less of a work to do towards turn number 1. But that high-tech car, the grey and black car, number 7, sitting there in 3rd place, he looks the most racy. He's been very close to the back of Pat Heuzenroeder in 2nd place a number of times this race. You see DRS flaps open for everyone apart from Ninovic, which is why Ninovic has to defend down towards turn number 1 every time.
But the one thing that we have noted here at Monza, because again, the very extremely low downforce, DRS doesn't have a insanely large impact like it did into the headwind at Donington Park a couple of weeks ago. Because they're running such small wings, when they open up that rear wing, the percentage change of drag is actually pretty low. It's by far the lowest that we'll have all season. Quite similar to what we get at Silverstone, where the straights aren't particularly long enough, but also they're actually quite low on downforce there as well.
Yeah, exactly. You're completely right there, Lewis. So DRS not hugely powerful as much as the straights are pretty long. However, the toe is very powerful. The teams are reckoning anywhere between 6 and 8 or 9 tenths of a second per lap if you get a perfect toe in qualifying, which will then play out the same in the race as well, which is why you're seeing Ninovic not being able to pull away from the field. If he could get that gap to about 8 tenths, I reckon he'd have the pace to pull away from the rest of the field, but the DRS would still pull them closer and closer together. Lovely slow-mo shot of the drivers just rippling over the curb there at turn number 1, and slow speed corner, which makes it feel like it potentially might not be that important, but often the slower speed corners are where all the time is won and lost, because you spend longer in the corner than you do, for example, the flick through the Ascari chicane, and 1 kilometre an hour is a more of a percentage difference in speed than it would be at, at 80 kilometres an hour than it is at 220 kilometres an hour, for example. As weaving once again, you can see it looks like Heuzenroeder a bit closer this time going through Parabolica, only 3 or 4 car lengths this time, so I think Ninovic is going to be in a position where he's going to need to defend down towards turn number 1.
I was going to say, at some point in this race, I get the vibe that with the final few laps ahead of us, just 3 left to go at the line, I get the feeling there will be an opportunity here for Patrick Heuzenroeder at some point. Is this the one? There's the slight defensive line coming in from Ninovic. Heuzenroeder can't do anything about it. Bit of a lock-up once again on the front right for Alex Ninovic in the black and white Roden car, our race leader, who continues to lead. But I do get the feeling that Heuzenroeder is going to have a very good attempt at some point.
It's only a matter of time, in my opinion, Lewis. I completely agree with you on that one. Heuzenroeder's not one to hold punches. He wants to go out there and take wins. It's also going to give him the best opportunity of gapping the rest of the drivers behind to take second place and 7 super license points. A reminder about that, of course, 10 points already taken by Alex Ninovic at the front of the field, but 7 super license points for second, 5 for third. So it's only 2 points difference, but that's still valuable in these drivers' careers at this early stage. They're looking all the way up to the top of the sport, and we'll be viewing those super license points as goals to get them closer to their ultimate dream of Formula 1 and then maybe even World Championship glory in future, because these drivers, I think it's almost a certainty that we'll see at least one of these drivers make it to Formula 1 in future, and who knows, they may be a star of the future.
Indeed, and at the moment, again, things are quite tight in that battle for second in the championship. Patrick Heuzenroeder, 333 points. Jean-Marc Bradel, 303, so he's 30 points behind. Deegan Fairclough, only 10 points behind Jean-Marc Bradel, and obviously he'll be focused on trying to steal away that position in the Drivers' Championship, and moving up to second here would be very helpful for him. Big slide coming into that final corner as they head out through the Parabolica. 2 laps left to go.
Interesting to see the ebb and flow of the pace lap on lap. You saw there Deegan Fairclough getting right underneath the rear wing of Heuzenroeder once again through the Parabolica, but then you saw the snap of oversteer that Fairclough had there, because the closer you get to the car in front, the less downforce you have, and he wasn't able to effect a pass because of it. Another good close-up shot there of how hard these drivers are working. No power steering in these cars. All of the effort through steering them, turning those big slick tyres at the front, is from the arms and upper body of these drivers, as we now see potential move for third place. Jean-Marc Bradel in the second of the Rodin cars, the white-fronted car, goes alongside Deegan Fairclough. Fairclough just about has enough of an overlap, or just enough of an advantage to cut across the front and deny Pradel that opportunity on the inside of Roger.
Yeah, of course. In that moment, it was Deegan Fairclough that was still getting the slipstream. Reza Seaworthen's feeling the need to go defensive from Rem. Great debut from both Chi and Rem, the 2 hill speed cars, those black and red cars, the debutants for this championship. Of course, they do have their other teammate Lucas Fluscher directly behind, but at the moment it's the debutants that are outpacing our most recent new race winner in GB3.
Yeah, they are drivers that have raced at this circuit before. As we see round the outside of the entry of the Ascari chicane goes Jean-Marc Bradel taking third place on the grid, and now that poor exit is going to hurt Deegan Fairclough, as well as pulling out of the slipstream looks Chi. Chi could try and get inside the top 4. He's alongside, and also look who's trying to get involved. The Argenti Prema, Seaworthen, started on grid 10, up in position 6, and trying to take advantage of this battle ahead to get inside the top 5.
So good from Gianmarco Pradel there. He gave the slipstream over to Chi. He was giving a little bit back to Deegan Fairclough because he wanted them to be side by side going into the Parabolica because it's allowed him to pull himself clear. And there comes Reza Seaworthen getting down the inside of his teammate last year as he works his way through potentially to 5th position. Could he get past Chi as well? Deegan Fairclough looks back to the outside as they go into the Rettifilo. Through they go on the final lap of the race. And it is Deegan Fairclough keeping Seaworthen behind. It's Chi, though, who's moved up into 4th position. What a debut.
Yeah, Chi doing a great job getting into the top 4 there. Good driving also between Fairclough and Seaworthen. Oh, through turn 1, we saw the close-up there of them leaving each other space. Racing room being left. Respect as now Fairclough defending once again. Chi, has he got back past Chi? I think he has. And also the second of the Hill Speed cars. There's 3 of them in 4 positions there. That is Rem on his debut getting well involved.
Yeah, indeed. Someone off the road in the background. I think that might have been Sherwood potentially trying to batter with Abby pulling. Keanu Alazari is also involved in that fight. I think potentially moving towards the back end of the top 10 as well. So I think Abby Pulling's actually... Oh, no, she's just... No, I'm getting it's Alazari and Anurag.
Yes, there's a lot of names to get a head around and a lot of jostling for position on this final lap, but no change at the front. The man that we've seen at the front so much this year, our champion, Ninovic, managed to break the toe on that last couple of laps, potentially helped by the battling behind second in the championship. Heuzenroeder looks like it's going to come through. Plenty of battling in the back of the field, as we can see the 11 in the JHR Developments car fighting with Abby Pulling in the background.
Yeah, Noah Lyle involved in that fight, but yes, he's broken the toe, and he continues to break records as well. 9th pole position earlier on in the day, 9th victory of the season coming in from our 2025 champion Alex Ninovic across the line to win again, to win abroad and to win the first race at the Temple of Speed. It's Heuzenroeder in second, Gianmarco Pradel in third, and Deegan Fairclough unfortunately missing out on the podium here at this iconic circuit.
Wow. What an end to the race there. We saw not a huge amount of changes of positions in the first half, but then towards the end, it all started kicking off. Some really good racing there. Drivers giving each other enough racing room as well, which is always good to see. And some great debuts. Chi in 5th place, Rem in 6th place, both for Hill Speed. They'll be happy with that. Seaworthen, 7th place in the end, up from 10th. He had a good race, and it was pretty tight there. A lot of slipstreaming action, but still, despite the circuit, despite the all the jostling, despite the overtaking, no one could get past that man there. The number 12, he's been at the front of the field so much this year. You mentioned it, Lewis, as he came over the line, setting record after record, pole position records and race win records. He's increased his record to 11. Is it 11 wins now, Lewis, for the year?
It's 9.
Sorry,
victories.
9. It was 11 poles, isn't it? It would have been.
It's 9. No, it's 9. I think it's a podium. Might be the one thing you're thinking
yes,
of.
I'm thinking of podiums. My mistake.
Either way, we'll take a look at the provisional race results. It's Ninovic again on top by 1.6 seconds over Patrick Heuzenroeder. Gianmarco Pradel in 3rd position with Deegan Fairclough in 4th. Newman Chi there in 5th position with Maxime Wren, the 2 of those being new to the championship. For Hill Speed finishing in 5th and 6th position. Reza Seaworthen dropping backwards but still gaining a few positions from his race start of 10th up to 7th position. Lucas Flucher in 8th, then Abby Pulling, obviously a great recovery there into 9th position. Noah Lyle in 10th. Jack Sherwood in 11th, bit of a shame after such a great qualifying. Keanu Alazari from the rear of the field up to 12th position ahead of Kabir Anurag, Patricio Gonzalez and August Raber in 15th position. Behind that it's Flynn Jacks, then Bianca Bustamante. Enzo Tarvanichkul would end up finishing a couple laps down together, might have had a little bit of a problem late on them. And then retirements from the first lap of the race. Isaac Phelps, Kai Darianani, Rodrigo Gonzalez and Bart Harrison as well.
Example of quite how close that race was. 10 seconds from the race lead would have taken you to 13th place. 14th place, just behind Kabir Anurag. So less than a second per car there when you consider that our lead interval was 1.6 seconds as well. That mid-pack, that's 4th through to 11th place, all separated by mere tenths of a second over the line. GB3 at Monza, I like it. I like the combination, Lewis. It's I think the drivers are just getting used to it in that one. We saw a bit of a clumsy start that first time around. But then we got going once again, and some really good, enjoyable racing to watch. Slipstreaming action, just what the race fans ordered.
Certainly so, and it will be 1, 2 and 3 on in the championship, finishing 1, 2 and 3. In fact, the top 4 finished in order. Ninovic, Heuzenroeder, Prodel and Fairclough. Fun fact of the race, it is actually going to be the first time we've seen all 3 of these drivers on the podium together this season. There we go.
Statsman Lewis.
There we go.
There we go.
That's a fun one to throw out.
Top 3 in the championship. They've had so many podiums between them, though, haven't they? I mean, we've seen Ninovic and Prodel up there a number of times. Heuzenroeder is in the championship just because of his consistency. And that's something that Heuzenroeder has been very impressive with this year. There's not many times, only three times has Heuzenroeder finished a race, 4 times, sorry, outside of the top 10.
Yeah. I've got a question for you. I know you've just been looking at the stats. I want you. How many times do you think Alex Ninovic has been on the podium when it hasn't been a win?
I don't know, but it can't be that many because he's taken so many wins there.
It's 1.
Wow.
Only 1 time. It was the 8th race of the season. Of course, it was at Spa, which was a mental race.
It was.
To be fair, all 3 races were pretty crazy over there. And Alex Ninovic, outside of that, yes, indeed, has taken a whopping 9 victories this season. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, insane indeed. Another all-Australian podium as well. The Aussies have been well up there. They're currently sitting 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 6th in the championship. So we've had a bit of an emigration of very fast racing drivers over to the UK for the GB3 championship this year. And you can see the hugs there. I mean, as much as Pat Heuzenroeder will be disappointed to once again lose the victory to Alex Ninovic, when it's Alex Ninovic taking the victories this year, you kind of must say, well, best of the rest isn't too bad when that man and that team are doing so well.
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen because I don't think it's going to. Well, it's fair, you never know. I was going to say it's not going to happen because he won't win the reverse grid race, but you really don't know if they just will. If he were to do so, he would have won 11 of the 24 races this season. That would be very close to 50%. His win percentage is already very high. I think it's about like high 30s, low 40% of race victory. Superb performance from our grid, and again, just a really impressive drive from Alex Ninovic, and again he just continues to run strong.
And there he is talking with his race engineer Jimmy, who's engineered so many championships in GB3 for Rodin.
Certainly so. Well, we're going to head down to Johners now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 4,
Australian domination.
2, 1.
Well, Alex, 9 wins now. You can make it 11 technically this season, but I mean, that was a tougher one because he was pushing you all the way there.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a tough race to lead at Monza. Is very tricky with no DRS and trying to keep everyone off behind you in the train is definitely hard. But I managed quite well, and I didn't stress too much. I tried to make as little mistakes as I could and maximise where I could when I saw Pat made a mistake or something. So yeah, the last couple laps I knew I could put my foot down a bit more and pull the gap, which was good to know that we have a bit more left in it. And I can't be happy enough to get another win.
Same again tomorrow morning.
Hopefully that will happen.
Excellent stuff. Best of luck in that race and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Here we go, Alex Ninovic. We're going to rush around this because I think they're hurrying us off here. We're going to go to Patrick Heuzenroeder and we're going to quickly speak to Pat and say that you pushed him all the way there, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky that 3,000th in quali means the difference between a first and second. Not much more I could have done, to be honest. We're getting to the end of the straight and topping out, so there's no overspeed to get the move into turn 1. He made a couple mistakes, but all I could do was put him under pressure, to be honest, and hope for the best. But yeah, I mean, still happy with second. It's not first, but it's good points on the boys in the championship.
Is there anything you think you can do differently tomorrow, maybe with the car setup or anything that you can maybe get the edge?
We'll have a think. I think we're pretty strong with the car, to be honest. Just missed out in quali, like I said, by 3,000. So, I don't think our performances are too far apart. It just means the difference between, like I said, first and second.
Well, another trophy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff. Gianmarco Prodel, where is he? We have to be very, very quick. Another podium for you. How was it out there? How was it to drive at Monza?
Fantastic to be back. Obviously, I know the circuit relatively well, so it's good to be back again. With the race, just sat behind, waited for something to unfold. Luckily, the driver ahead made a few mistakes, and I was able to capitalise on that in the closing laps. So, yeah, pretty happy with it. Pretty happy with how it unfolded. But you know, still got 2 more to go. Full focus on those now.
Great result for the team, especially with David Dicker here as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great to bring it home. I mean, yeah, big shout out to everyone at Roden. It's been fantastic, and yeah, good to do it when David's here. So yeah,
of course it is. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
There we go. That's the top 3, and they will be getting their trophies in a matter of seconds, just above us here at the iconic podium at Monza.
Cheers, Johners. And again, great to hear from our top 3 there. It's such an iconic venue. I mean, when we speak of circuits in the world of motorsport that have had such a historical place, of course, you've got places like Spa, which is some of drivers' favourite circuits. We get to race there beautifully. You've got places like the Nürburgring, you've got Bathurst, Monaco. Monza's up there for a lot of drivers, even though the driving experience around it is straights and chicanes, not too much, but there's so much history here.
It is. It really is a pull for the drivers in terms of nostalgia, and it's a place where all of these drivers have watched their heroes race and win at, and we'll think back to podiums in Formula One where the pit straight right underneath, well, you can see right there, full of the Tifosi. We've got a fair few fans here this weekend watching GB3 and the other races that are on this weekend. Maybe not quite as many as we expect on a Formula One weekend, but I think that's understandable. But these drivers the top 3 that we've just mentioned, they will be going out onto the very same podium that they'll be hoping to step on in Formula One in the years to come. But that remains to be seen. Ninovic is giving himself a great case for a place in Formula One with dominant performances like this. If he can continue to dominate single-seater feeder categories like he has this year, then he'll be on the books of a Formula One team in no time at all. That is my prediction if he can continue the form he's had this year. We've still got 2 more races to come this weekend, Lewis. I think that one was everyone's just dusting off and finding exactly how the racing goes around here. I'm looking forward to the racing getting even closer and even cleaner in race 2 and race 3. Unfortunately, we saw a few drivers leave that race early on at the start of that first start. They'll have looked at that. All the teams and drivers will go through the video and the footage that we've seen on the live broadcast so far from race 1 and just have a look and see, right, how can I position my car better? Where is the risk? How can I avoid risk? How can I make the most of opportunities? And I'll come back even stronger tomorrow. Drivers also and teams have an opportunity to make some minor changes to their car setups to try and improve things for the speed they have around the circuit as well. So the order that we see at the end of race number 1 won't necessarily be the order of race number 2, especially when you consider there's a bit of a shuffle in terms of the grid. Noah Lyle will be going from 2nd place, and he was fighting towards the back of the top 10 in that one, coming over the line towards the back of the grid in that one. But that shows how important qualifying is.
He had a great start as well, so very comfortable with getting a little bit racy here. So we'll be taking to the podium, and as you can see, we are on, I'm going to say it, I think it is the most iconic podium in motorsport. I think it's absolutely insane. There's no other podium where you get to stand out and look across the grid. Absolutely incredible there. So we can see, of course, our podium piece together. Gianmarco put out into 3rd position. Onto the 2nd step of the podium, it is Heuzenroeder, and of course it is Alex Ninovic who will be taking to the top step for the 9th time. I think Jonathan Palmer will be the one to hand out the trophies to our drivers, and again, absolutely incredible performance from them.
Yeah, there it is, Jonathan Palmer, CEO of Motorvision, isn't he? Or is that his title?
MSV, yeah,
Chief Executive
of MSV.
Yes, there you go. And then Pat Heuzenroeder taking his trophy for 2nd place, and then he lays that aloft for the XL Motorsport team, who I must say have done a great job to continue improving this year. Their first year in the championship. But still can't quite catch Roden, who have become, as Lewis, I think, provisionally the team's champions, have they not?
By my maths, they certainly are, and deservedly so. It's been an incredible season for the Roden team, who, between, of course, the 2 there that you can see on screen with Ninovic and Padel, and, of course, with the superb performance from Ari Pulling at various points of the season, they will clinch the team's championship, and deservedly so.
Absolutely. And Gianmarco Padel helping towards that. He's fighting for that 2nd place in the championship. Won't get any closer in that race, unfortunately, to Pat Heuzenroeder. The gap was about 30 points or so at the start of the race. That will just edge out ever so slightly, and now the drivers have the opportunity to spray the bubbly over the Monza chicane, which is a moment that they will remember for a very long time, I'm sure.
Certainly so. Going to make the track maybe a little bit slippy if they're not careful. But no, of course, it's just on that start finish. They'll spray that down into the pit lane. That's not onto the circuit. Let's just clarify. We'll go over though into highlights from the first race at Monza. Highlights from round 22 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. It was Ninovic leading from pole position, and a better launch from the likes of Deegan Fairclough behind, going on the attack of Patrick Heuzenroeder, racing down into that opening corner. But could he go for a move? As a couple of looks were also coming in from those in the background. After drama after an initial race start, we were back going once more, and it was a couple of drivers skipping over the road on the left-hand side of the exit of the opening corner, including the likes of Bianca Bustamante and Abby Pulling. Unfortunately for Patricio Gonzalez, it was dropping down to the rear end of the field after going out wide, going through the second Lesmo, down into what was 17th position at that point in the race. Of course, for Alex Ninovic, it was a comfortable position in the race. Patrick Heuzenroeder was trying to keep as close as possible, but it was those fights outside of the podium that were getting very intense indeed. She down the inside of Fairclough, and then, of course, an excellent victory again from Alex Ninovic. Well, we'll take a look at the standings after that race. Of course, 481 points now for Alex Ninovic. A superb performance from him, and again, now has a 120-point lead in the championship. Doesn't matter, he's already the champion. But it's those gaps behind that we're really focused on. Second through fifth really is incredibly tight. Patrick Heuzenroeder there in second position has pulled out more than a race victory, though, over Gianmarco Padel, so maybe he'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable as the weekend unfolds. 362 plays 327. Of course, very tight in that fight for third position. Padel, Fairclough and Seaworthen, who has been quietly moving himself back into the mix. Fifth position in the championship, 303 points, only 11 behind Deegan Fairclough. Noah Lyle has a chance of getting some good results, obviously starting second in tomorrow morning's race, 279 points. Keanu Alazari just 6 points behind now in the championship after, of course, Alazari had to fight up from the rear end of the field, ending in 12th position in that race. Of course, we've got Lucas Flucher there, who ended up finishing in 8th. That means he's got 5 consecutive top 10s for Flucher. Will McIntyre, of course, who is not racing in the championship anymore, unfortunately, after the diagnosis for him. It's a bit of a shame, but he is still in the top 10 of the championship, and I get the feeling that he might hang on from Kai Darianani. He's got 36 points. I think Kai Darianani is going to score 36 points in the next 2 races. Maybe he will.
Maybe he will. Be good to see that. But Will McIntyre, unfortunately, Will, wishing you well. Hopefully we'll see you back on the grid sometime in the future. But rest up and recover soon, and keep up to speed with Will's journey over the next couple of months. And we wish him well. Everyone in the grid and paddock does as well. Ninovic taking the top of the title, already sealed up, but it's pretty close for a lot of those other positions. Don't forget, super license points: first, second, third, fourth and fifth. Ninovic already got those 10. 7 will go to second place. Heuzenroeder's eyeing that up at the moment. Gianmarco Padel, we're trying to take that off him. And then 5 for third, 3 for fourth, and 1 super license point for Formula 1 in 5th place, which is probably the most closely fought between 4th and 5th between Fairclough and Seaworthen this weekend, especially considering they're on similar places on circuit, or will find themselves in a similar place on circuit this weekend.
Yeah, they obviously will have picked up a few super license points last year on racing in British Formula 4. But for Deegan Fairclough, I mean, look, whatever you can pick up here is absolutely critical. Even if it is just the one, that could be the turning point for you. But if he can indeed pick up 3, can he move up and maybe grab 5? Well, it's going to be a tricky one, but I think there's the potential.
Yeah, Ninovic going for pole again tomorrow, Lewis. Do you think that the rest of the field would have learned something? Do you reckon they'll be able to get one over on him for tomorrow, because he's looked pretty in control in that race? Only that one mistake down towards turn 1 when he locked up after the safety car restart, wasn't it?
I think it really comes down to that run into turn 1. That's the defining factor here. We saw Patrick Heuzenroeder on the initial race start, but he locked up on the way down into that first corner, and that's what kind of cost him there. I think if he hadn't locked up, maybe he would have had the chance. I think he'll need to be thinking about that, and obviously Noah Lyle will need to be watching that to see exactly what's going to be happening there. Of course, an excellent first race here at Monza, but we'll be returning down into the paddock to go catch up with Jonas and the rest of the grid.
Thank you very much, Lewis. We are down here, as you can see, at the very lovely interview area. No drivers are here, though, which is not a problem at all. Watch your back, watch your back. Whoa, nearly got run over there by Jean-Marc Pradell's car. Is Shane okay? Shane is okay. Good. Fantastic. Let's go and find some drivers then. Obviously, they're wheeling the cars back here after they were in the podium area. All the other cars come straight back to this assembly area here. So we're going to go driver hunting and see who we can find, because they have not come to the designated interview area. Watch out, let's not get run over twice by the car. We can see on the right here a very nice GB3 invited guest area, which we are allowed into, but not with the camera, I don't think. I don't think they're fans of us filming people having a good time. You can see David Dicker just behind there. We'll hopefully catch up with David Dicker before it all goes. In fact, well, maybe we'll wait for him. I think he likes things more pre-arranged. Right, let's find ourselves a driver. Who can we find? Who can we find? No one around, of course. That's how it always goes. Let's keep walking. They tend to run away, don't they? Literally can't find anyone at all. Anyone seen any drivers? This is ridiculous. Normally they hide, but they don't all hide. Have they all gone somewhere else? Is there something that someone's not telling me here? Because it seems like no drivers at all. Maybe they're all at the designated interview area. Maybe we've gone the wrong way around here. This is quite ridiculous. I don't know. Let's just keep walking. We'll find someone. Enzo Tarvanishkal was walking around, but he'd already got changed because obviously he didn't quite finish the race there with a problem with his car. I mean, there's literally no drivers here. Unless I start talking to people who are here to support the drivers and follow them, I don't know. I think we're going to have to at this rate. Jean-Marc Pradell's coming through. Alex Ninovic. I'm going to ask Alex Ninovic where he's keeping his trophy. Alex, I was just chatting to your mum. Your mum's over. Has she come over this so far this season?
Sorry?
Has your mum come over this season so far?
Yeah, she did. They were here for Zandvoort, Spa in Hungary.
Oh, nice. So the Europeans.
So they went back home and then they've come back for the last round, so it's pretty cool.
I'll let you into a secret. She had to ask me where the podium was because they weren't sure how to get there. So judging by the sound, I think they maybe just missed it. So if they told you they were there, they're lying to you. But I think they tried to get there. They did their best, all right?
I'm sure they'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. You smell of champagne. We'll let you go and get your race overalls washed off, and we'll promise not to talk to you again on this broadcast because it's becoming the Alex Ninovic show. Let's move across. Thank you very much. Let's speak with Lucas Flusha. I've got it on my thing here. How was that race for you? I mean, Monza is such an iconic track. It must be pretty cool to race around here.
Yeah, it's the first time here actually. On Thursday it was my first time testing. So, yeah, we've gotten good knowledge of the track by now. And yeah, it's quite a nice track.
You've got a couple of different teammates this weekend, but you've all been doing pretty well. It's been looking very positive.
Yeah.
How much do you know the other guys? Have you just met them? It's one of those new things.
No, I knew them.
You knew them, okay. Yeah. I mean, they were saying that they know this track pretty inside out. So have they given you any tips at all?
No.
So keep it a secret.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's been good work with my engineer, Mr. I am on the mechanics. So I think we've been doing a good job. Obviously, not the qualifying we wanted, but definitely moving back up from the races. This race wasn't very good. Not very happy with it, but we'll come back tomorrow for more.
Yeah, you can look at the data and come back stronger tomorrow. Thanks for chatting to me.
Thank you.
Here we go, Lucas Flusha. Obviously, teammates might be teammates, but they're not going to give away their secrets. I'm looking over at the designated interview area. No drivers have come to the designated interview area, so we'll leave it there. We're going to catch up with David Dicker. Obviously, Roden doing amazing things, and he's come all the way over from New Zealand to watch the fruits of his labour, and it's a huge passion project for David Dicker. We'll chat with him. We'll also chat to two of our new drivers from Hillspeed this weekend in tomorrow morning's show. Of course, you can check all the times of where our broadcasts are on the GB3 Championship website and on the social media channels as well. First one is early tomorrow if you're watching in Europe. Obviously, times will be different where you're watching around the world. And we hope you can join us then. And if you missed any of this action, don't forget to watch the highlights. They'll be uploaded very, very soon to the GB3 social media channels. And you can read Randy's race report very, very soon. So that is one race done here at Monza. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow morning with a bit more heat. I imagine it might be a little bit colder tomorrow morning, and find out if Alex Ninovic can win yet another race in his championship year.